Okay, this is going to be a quick little tutorial on how to do micrography using large text. I think I've already kind of covered something like this before in the other micrography assignment, but I want to show you again to demonstrate to um, brush up on what it is you need to do. All right, so I've opened up this coffee cup in Illustrator. I found this coffee cup off of the internet, downloaded it, and basically opened it in Illustrator. Now you may notice a few things that we need to change or adjust, and that is my artboard. This big long rectangular is my artboard. Yours might be a different shape, um, and we need to adjust it to fit the cup. So do we? Uh, but also we need to look at the size. So I'm going to go to Command R on my keyboard, and that's going to show me my ruler. Okay, so this is 4 inches, essentially 4 inches across on my artboard, and that means my coffee cup. Let me move my coffee cup over so I can really kind of see the size of it. It's about 8 inches this way, and that 8 inches that'll work. So let's adjust the artboard to fit the photograph. Okay. And the way I do that is I'm going to click off of that because I have it selected, and that's going to show my document setup. So I need to click on my document setup, then go to Edit Artboard, and then I can grab one of these corners. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Command Z on that. I need to grab, right there we go. So grab that corner, bring it down to fit that corner. Now I can just bring this bottom up to meet the bottom of this photograph. Now I'm just going to get out of this dotted line box with the little corners. Just go to any of the selection tools, click on those, and now our artboard has been adjusted to fit the size of our photograph. Okay. Now, if you want your artboard to be a little bit beyond, the edge of that, right now it feels cropped pretty tight. I could have gone in and maybe adjusted this to be a little bit further out. You know, you determine in terms of your artboard. That's all. That photograph's not going to show in the end anyway, so that's totally up to you. So that feels a little better to me. Okay. Now notice I can select my photograph, and I do not want to work on my photograph. Okay, that means I'm on the layer of my photograph, and I don't want to be on the layer of my photograph as I work. Right? That's been something I've repeated quite a bit. So I need to essentially lock this layer. Now I can do that by double clicking, say somewhere over in this blank area, double click on that, and then I can go to use as a template, and that's going to automatically check the dim images to 50% and click OK. Now, you may not want your coffee cup that dim, or your coffee cup, your image, whatever your image is, dimmed like that, and you don't have to necessarily do that. You can click off on dim images, and essentially it locks it. Okay, that's totally up to you. Okay, so I can't work on this layer anymore. You notice that little circle with the cross line through it? That means I can't do anything in this space. I can't click on my pen tool. I can't come in here and do anything. Can't click on the type tool. Can't do anything. So I need to come over here and create a new layer. And so that's that's going to get us off of the photograph and working on a layer that's not tied to the photograph. Okay. We are going to be using the text tool, so the type tool. So you need to make sure you select that. Okay, I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to put my fill color to black. And I'm going to none on my stroke. Okay, you get to pick your color, you get to pick your font, and that's what we need to do now. Well, I'm going to type in here first. I'm going to click and type. I'm going to use capital letters, hit the lock key, caps lock key on my keyboard. I'm going to type in coffee. That's what goes in this cup. So Makes sense. So I'm going to go up here to my selection tool, select that. Now this, I don't have to press the shift key to skew it. I'm going to reshape this to fit in this area as best I can, both top and bottom, and both left and right. So I'm stretching, distorting, skewing this type, which is kind of a no-no in the design world, but for micrography purposes, we're really altering, distorting the text. Now, before I do that, now I just adjusted that to really fit that, but if I go select a font, that might totally change all that, and I might have to readjust that. So let me show you. So I don't like that font. That's pretty bland. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. So I need to select all that first, right? And if I go to character here and I select on that, my fonts, I really can't tell what those fonts look like. I can see the different names, but I just can't tell what they look like. So I'm going to go up here instead to type and to font. Now I get a little like sort of thumbnail essentially of what the font looks like in terms of the text and its name. So I'm going to scroll down until I find something I like. I don't know. That looks pretty interesting. Let me just select that. Kind of like that. I'm not sure how that's going to look with those little thin lines in there once I skew it down. Yeah, for that purpose, I might change it. Let's see. I might try this one. Let's go bold. I don't know if I like the blockiness of that. Okay. It's not so blocky. It's kind of curved on the edges. We'll go with that. But see what I mean? Now it doesn't really fit in that space. I'm going to have to readjust it now. Because depending on the font is going to alter the size. So I'm clicking on these anchor points essentially. That's what that's called when you're in the selection like this. Okay, so my text fits within this space as good as I can get it right now. Now you might have to, for yours, you might have to twist, you might have to turn, you might have to do all kinds of different things to make yours fit within the space. Just try to make it fit within the space as best you can to begin with, okay? Now, the next thing is we're going to go to Object, Envelope Distort, and then to Mesh, Make with Mesh. Now, default, this is going to be set up in rows of 4 and columns of 4. You can do a preview and kind of see what that looks like. And you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay. If you have something that's pretty complex, you're going to have to really be bendy with it and reshape it a lot. You might want to go with more rows or columns. You can really, it's going to be a lot more work, but you can really micromanage what it is you're trying to do. So I'm going to click OK on that. I feel comfortable with that for this. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I got to make this E fall along this contour, this E fall within this contour, and it's going to really pinch it down here on this ends, on both ends. Make the C come down over here and the O come up to this line and so forth. And so I'm going to demonstrate that. So I'm going to bring this, oops, this is where we need to change my selection tool. Right now I'm in the selection tool. I need a direct selection tool where you can click the letter A, which is the quick command for that. So there is one thing I want to demonstrate. If I don't like the red, like when I click on the red, and it doesn't really show up very well, red, click on my anchor points, and the red that's given for the anchor points and the paths, I guess you would call them, I can go over here to my layer. Okay, you can see it has the color red right there. I can double click on this, go up here and change that color. Maybe I'll do medium blue, click OK. And maybe that shows up better. Okay, so you can adjust and change what color that is to make it more visible, because it's really difficult. Anyway, it's so small in terms of what we're trying to click on, because we're trying to click on the anchor point and we're trying to click on these handles. Okay, that's what's going to make this work. So I'm going to click on that anchor. I'm going to drag it down to that contour of the cup. Now it looks funky, but just be patient. Drag these in. And the reason it looks really so distorted and bad right now is because of these handles. We got the anchors where they need to be, but the handles are not where they need to be. Okay. So you noticed I put the anchor point right there on that contour, but really that E was a little higher than that, so I need to adjust that. All right. So you can see it looks really kind of weird, pretty bad. That's because the handles right now, really. Now I might need to go in and adjust some of these eventually too. Everything, you're just going to sort of go in, push, pinch, reshape, redefine what's there. So let's zoom in a little bit. So let's see what we can do with this. So this is set up right now, so it's a right angle. Like I got my handle that's going this way. I got another handle that's out here, right? You can barely see it. But I'm going to need to move this and align it over this way. I can take this handle and align it and push it up this way. I can take this one, push it down this way. This one, push it that way. I'm trying to get just the handles in line with the cup. Now with this, I can maybe break the handles here. If you remember how to do that, is Shift C. Shift C is the quick command for your pen tool to get that, which is the convert anchor point tool. What that's going to allow me to do is now break this handle. And I think yeah, okay. And I'm going to need to actually break this one. Actually, I didn't really need to. I'm doing Command Z on that. I'm going to go back to my direct selection tool, which is the letter A. Pull that out a little bit. Now this one, let's see, I might need to break this one. No. Bring that down. Bring this up. Now, that doesn't feel so bad. In terms of how that looks right now, I need to bring this up a little bit. Okay. And bring this down a little bit. It's just micromanaging, going in and pushing and redirecting. So right now it doesn't look too bad on the E out here, but inside here it doesn't look very good. So this is really kind of pushed in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the handlebar that's right here on that and then push it out this way. And I might pull this one in a little bit. Now this is making this look kind of awkward, so I'm going to take this and pull it down a little bit. Pull this one up a little bit. I might even pull this up a little bit. Pull this down a little bit. Pull that up a little bit. Pull this down a little bit. Now I'm starting to feel a lot better about it. Pull this in a little bit. Just kind of keep pushing, pulling, tucking, nudging until things feel like they're working within that space. All right, let's back out on that, see what that looks like. Voila, and there we go. That's now I've kind of started the process of making sure. And you can see I did have to go and adjust this one as well as I adjusted this one. This now kind of curves up, this kind of curves down, this kind of stays straight through the middle. But I did have to adjust the handlebars a little bit, that were right here. If I push it that way, push it this way, in terms of how that feels. I do want a little bit of a curve right there, and then it sort of straighten up. So I could actually maybe even push this out this way a little bit, to be honest. And now I've set up a whole new situation of things I got to adjust. And once I've made these adjustments, it's kind of hard to see. Let me zoom in. I might have to recheck this. That's a little wonky right there. In terms of how that's bulging out right there. I don't know if there's a whole lot I can do about that. If I go this way, it's going to make it worse. If I go this way a little bit more. Oh, that's better. Okay. And it's going to look funky, but it works. All right. So as I go, I could change my color. I might want to make this more of a coffee color text, Matter of fact, I'm not sure if I can change that color now that it's like that. Because if I go to the text tool, let me click off of that. If I go to text tool, I don't even think this is recognized as text anymore. Let me see. No, it's not. Okay. All right. So that's interesting. All right. So what we're going to have to do, I'm going to delete that. See, I can't select the text anymore because the text has been altered from essentially being text anymore. Okay. So I can't really change the color. So let me show you how to do that. Command Z on that. Okay, let's say I'm totally done with the word coffee. I've got it, everything fit within that space. So how am I going to adjust this? Now, once I got it adjusted just the way I want it in terms of its shape, here's what you're going to have to do. Okay, I'm going to have to go up to, now you could have changed the color before, but let's just say you don't have things resolved. You don't know what color you might put behind this, because ideally we want to get rid of the cup. Okay, ideally. So let's just say, put in a new layer underneath. Let me lock the text layer, get off of that. I'm going to go in here and select the ellipse tool. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make this sort of a brown. Let's see. Yeah. Um, doesn't look very good right now, but let me stretch this out. Oops. I can select it. All right. Now, oops. All right. Let me redo this. I'm going to use the round tool. That way I think I'll get better results. Oh, that's not it. It's a rounded rectangle. Wonder, oh, okay, there we go. Struggling a little bit this morning. Oh, there we go. I went straight out that way. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So again, I'm replacing the cup, right, in the end. So let me take off the picture, put the text back. I've got coffee fitting within there. Now maybe black looks good on that, but maybe I want to go, again, something different, like a different color. So I'm going to lock the layer I just created, that ellipse shape. I'm going to go in. Now I may want to even put in a different background color. So let me do that. Because the image I had was just white. And that's not, if I want to really make an image here, maybe I should have found a coffee cup that had color in terms of a room, like actual photographs or something. That might well look good. So I'm going with coffee-ish colors right now. So I'm gonna lock that layer, okay? Just trying to go through all the different aspects of this for you. So I'm going to now unlock my coffee text, right? And I have that layer selected. So how am I going to change the color in this? First of all, I'm going to go to Command A to select all. And now I'm going to go to Object, and then I'm going to go to Expand. And it's going to ask me to expand the object, fill, click OK. And there we go. Now notice our mesh went away. Okay, our mesh is gone. We can't mess with the mesh anymore. Ideally I've already completed all my text, but this is how it's going to allow me to change the color. So now I can go within this, and let's just say I want a, I don't know. I'm just going to select something here. Click OK. So now I got a color to fill within that. Okay. Again, did that through Object, Expand. That's how I did that. Now I do believe you could still go back and put a mesh back on it. Okay. Oops. Let me do that. And I could do that by Command A to select all, and probably go back to Object, Envelope Distort, make with Mesh, and you can see there it would put mesh back on it. So I could go back and readjust if I needed or wanted to after the fact I've expanded it and it's no longer type anymore. Essentially, it's no longer typed once you put the mesh on it and you started adjusting the text with the mesh. It's no longer really editable in terms of if I wanted to change the word or retype it. So, okay. So that's it pretty much. What I would want to do obviously is go in and finish. I could click off on this background layer, bring my photograph back, and continue working on these other aspects or parts. In the end, I could end up making it look like there's sort of some steam coming off this somehow, maybe with a layer that's kind of transparent. I could even put the word steam, coming off of it. Try to put the word handle within that. That'd be a really tight little space. I might would want to leave the handle, like put an actual handle there like this shape and not put a word in that. That might would be something you need to do on certain things. Or I could repeat the word handle, small text, like maybe 3 times right there. Anyway, hope this helps.